Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're looking at sources exploring, well, a pretty unusual link, radio control hobbies and the paleo diet.
Yeah, RC and paleo. Not the first connection you'd think of, is it?
Not at all. But our mission here is to unpack why some sources are reframing the RC hobbyist, not just a player, but a cognitive athlete.
Right. And understanding that starts, interestingly, with a bit of history. Remember the Tamiya era? The frog? The hornet?
Oh yeah, the golden age. Building those kits took serious focus.
Exactly. Meticulous, hands-on work. You had to understand every single part. None of this black box stuff you get now. It was all about fundamentals.
Okay, I see the parallel. Rejecting convenience, valuing the process. Kind of like paleo rejecting processed foods for whole ingredients.
Precisely. But let's connect the dots more clearly. How does fiddling with gears translate to needing specific brain fuel?
Well, that's a core question, isn't it? Is it really that demanding?
The sources argue yes. Success in RC, especially racing, isn't just about having a fast car. It's about perceptual judgments, cognitive speed, under pressure.
Reading the track, making those tiny split-second corrections.
Exactly. That requires sustained attention, filtering out distractions, and incredibly fine motor control.
So, wait, are we actually saying an RC operator needs to think about fueling their brain like a runner fuels muscles?
Yeah.
It feels a bit dramatic.
Well, think about the nervous system. It needs fuel, too. And that's where paleo comes in, the whole mismatch hypothesis.
Yeah, the idea that our modern diets, full of grains and sugars developed after agriculture, don't really match our older hunter-gatherer genetics.
Correct. And for the cognitive athlete, the RC operator, the big win from paleo, according to these sources, is cognitive stability.
Stable blood sugar. That makes sense. Cut out the refined sugars, the processed carbs, and you avoid those energy spikes and awful crashes.
Right. The ones that lead straight to mental fog, irritability. Just when you need sharp focus for a race.
Okay, stability is one thing, avoiding the negative. But does paleo actively sharpen reactions?
Yeah.
Does it improve the hardware itself?
The argument is yes. It's nutrient-dense. Think omega-3 fatty acids, say, from wild fish. They're key components of your neuronal cell membranes. Better membranes, potentially faster, clearer signals.
Better signaling means quicker response times from brain to finger.
Exactly. And it's not just theory. There was a pilot study mentioned that's quite compelling. People on a modified paleo diet showed significant improvement in the 9-hole peg test.
The peg test. Isn't that a clinical measure of fine motor skill and dexterity?
It is, and that maps almost perfectly onto the kind of precision you need on an RC controller. Real, measurable improvement in hand dexterity.
Wow. Okay, so if we accept this, the fueling strategy needs to be specific, right? Like different for different RC disciplines.
Absolutely. If you're a racer, your goal is usually unwavering concentration for shorter bursts. Intense focus.
So pre-race fuel might be what? Lean protein, healthy fats, maybe some sweet potato like an hour or 90 minutes before.
Yeah, something like that. A steady cognitive boost, not a sugar rush. But if you're into RC crawling, that's a different game entirely.
Crawling is all about endurance, patience, hours out on the trail.
Right. And that's where paleo's higher healthy fat content really shines, supposedly. Slow burning, consistent energy for long-term mental clarity.
Trail snacks then. Beef jerky, nuts, seeds, maybe hard-boiled eggs. Things that provide that sustained fuel.
That's the idea. Dense nutrition to keep you level-headed for hours.
It makes sense on paper. But what about compliance? When you're tired after hours outdoors, isn't grabbing a sugary drink tempting? How do the sources handle that?
The emphasis is on preparation. If you fuel properly beforehand with satiating fats and protein, you're less likely to get those desperate cravings that lead to bad choices. It's preventative.
Got it. And beyond just race day performance, there's a longevity angle mentioned too, isn't there? Anti-inflammatory benefits?
Yeah, that's a big one. Cutting out industrial seed oils, upping antioxidants. It's generally seen as strongly anti-inflammatory.
Which could mean less joint pain, better mobility.
Yeah.
Especially important as hobbyists get older. That could genuinely keep people active in the hobby for longer.
For sure. So you see the paleo framework here, less as a rigid dogma and more like a high-performance toolkit. You tune it like you tune your car.
The key takeaway seems to be less about paleo as a label and more about cutting out the refined sugars and processed oils. That's the real power move.
Definitely. Those are the biggest disruptors for cognitive function and inflammation.
So bringing this back to you, the listener, what's the final thought here?
Well, it's a powerful approach, but it needs careful management. The sources do acknowledge criticisms. Excluding entire food groups like dairy and whole grains raises valid concerns.
Right, specifically about things like calcium and vitamin D for bone health, isn't it?
Exactly. So if you're going to apply this kind of high-performance fueling sustainably, you, the cognitive athlete, need to be proactive. Seek out non-dairy calcium sources, think leafy greens, and seriously consider vitamin D supplementation. It's about optimizing performance and protecting your long-term health in the hobby.